Hello everyone, Burb here. I've been playing independent training a lot since its release. In fact, I have one going right now, trying to hit a 3-3 Lupa that includes Umastan as well as Pedal to the Metal. And it's rather addicting. You just set the Uma up, you give it a schedule, you give it a deck, and then you come back in 15 minutes and you see if you have made progress in the parent building department. And parent building through independent training, I think, is a very good investment because it makes it so your future aces can get those premier white skills a whole lot easier, as well as generally better pinks and blues over time, and it just makes your CM life easier, as well as just whatever you want to do in this game. Parent building is a core part of Umumusme, and this basically automates this for you. There's just one problem with independent training. We're now doing so many runs, and I'm doing so many runs that I am now completely out of TP bottles, which means for me, the only way for me to continue independent training or to continue playing this game is basically to just top off with carrots. If you don't know, you can spend 10 carrots to restore 30 energy, which is enough for one singular run or auto run, or in the case of the event right now, it is one half of or rather 2 runs for it, because we are only spending 15 energy. Do note that rerolls count the full amount even though we are in half TP event. And so we are now spending a gacha currency on something that is not gacha. And now this requires me to go and look back and see if it's actually worth it. So that's where the question for me came in is this actually carrot positive? And if it's not, what am I actually spending when I am constantly doing independent training runs? And is it worth it for me to continue parent building despite me having to use basically real money currency on this game? I know there's free carrots. Those free carrots are replacing paid carrots that you would have to buy for the characters that you enjoy. This is a gacha currency, and the general rule for gacha is you don't spend gacha currency on things that are not gacha. This could be an exception. We shall see. That is where the premise of this video comes from. And the reason why there's an actual question for this is that there are race rewards in this game. Whether through auto training or through playing the game, if you win a race, there is a 5% chance that you receive 5 carrots as a sort of a refund. And yes, there's a limit to this. You can only get this 20 times per day for a grand total of 100 carrots, or in the case of right now, 200 carrots, because we are in a 2 times carrot reward event or 2 times race reward event. But this offers sort of a pseudo refund over time, and because it counts in auto training, we have to consider this as well. We're going to be talking about base numbers first. We'll get into the event in a little bit, and we will be assuming a 24 graded race schedule. I will go and show a more aggressive schedule later on, but this I think is a good estimate for a parent build because this includes pretty much all of the G1s in some form or another, and generally it's being found that 28 races is kind of the sweet spot of getting all the Geons that you want. You don't necessarily have to do sprinter stakes, of course, but that is basically where the line is of how you can go and run all these races and still hit 600s as well as still hit SS. So if you're wanting just a standard independent training one, try to hit 28 races. It's generally the good amount. But that means that you have 24 graded races because you have 3 URA finale and 1 debut race as well. And this is the binomial problem. We have a finite number of hits we need to hit. We have a finite number of attempts in the number of races that we are doing in our schedule. And we have a probability of hitting or missing. This problem comes up, or this binomial distribution comes up quite often in gacha, again, gacha games in general. It's our good friend on this channel. And for the first time, we are going to actually go and solve the factorial this time because I don't want to just show you 0 and 1 like I normally do. Let's try and say we have to have 4 hits this time. If we have 4 hits, we need to take 24 factorial over, in this case, 4 factorial times 24 minus 4, or 20 factorial. So 24 over 4 factorial times 20 factorial. To find the number of arrangements that we can place those 4 different wins. We could win race number 1, 4, 7, and 11. We could win races 11, 12, 14, and 15, etc., etc. And those have an independent probability that we have to sum together for the binomial problem. This is sort of the estimation of which that is found to be true. And when you are solving factorials, you usually will find that you can cancel them out a lot. So every single factorial is just the multiplication of itself. times every number beneath it down to 1. So 24 factorial is the numbers 24 down to 1 multiplied together. 4 factorial is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. 20 factorial is 20 down to 1. And basically, because these are multiplied, and this is basically a fraction, which is division, numerator, denominator, you can cross out the portion of the top factorial with one of the portions of the bottom factorial. And the one that has the most overlap is the one that you cancel. In this case, it's 20 factorial. So the 20 down to 1 on numerator and denominator is canceled out. And this is always what happens in this binomial problem, is you're left with sort of a 24 times 23 times 22 times 21, or the top half of the top half of the top factorial and the bottom half of the bottom factorial of 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. This kind of combines to 255,024 over 24, which means that there are 10,626 arrangements of 4 hits into 24 hit slots. So there's 24 ways we can win. We can get 4 carat refunds over 24 races. Gonna grab a drink of water real quick. Sorry, voice is dying. All right, there we go. So we plug this into the rest of the binomial problem, which is just the probability of hitting times raised to the number of hits multiplied by the probability of missing raised to the number of misses. For 4 in this case, we need 4 hits and exactly 20 misses. And we find that multiplying all these together, we get a 2.38% chance of having exactly 4 hits in this case. You do this for every single one, basically. This is 5 or more, sorry. And you see that basically you are going to get a refund. We'll talk about that in a bit. Here we go. You're going to get a full refund without any events going on 33% of the time. And you're going to get a refund in the double TP event for sure, somewhere around 70 to 85%, because it only costs 15, so it really needs 0.5 refunds. So one refund will go, and this event right now, you're going to be getting a refund 85% of the time itself. But this is occurrences, and this does not count actual expected value. The expected value equation is a lot easier than this. Expected value is just the number of trials times the probability. You basically have a 1/3 chance of hitting something over the course of 3 runs. The expected value of yourself, this is not necessarily the number of times it's the number of times you're expecting to hit. You expect to hit 1 out of every 3 times if you run something 3 times. Now, it doesn't always work out that way because of variance, but that's what this is for. So it's very simple. We have 24 races and we have a 5% chance, so we have 1.2 hits per run, or 1.2 carat refunds of 5 per run. In a normal event, because it only gives us 5 carats, we get 6 carats refunded per run. And if we spent 10 on it, double event, we get 12 carats, of course. If we spend 10 carats per run, or 5 carats in the half TP event, we find that normally we are spending 4 carats in order to do an independent training run. In the 2 times half TP event, the combination of both makes it so that we have a 7 carat advantage per run. So we're actually making carats if we are running our independent trainings, if we haven't saturated our limit of 200 carats in this case over the course of the day. So basically this means that if you are not re-rolling, you should be going and running independent training until you see 20 drops, because you are statistically making carat revenue. If you are re-rolling, however, you do have to spend full price on a second run, and there's no additional winning races happening, so you just have to add 10 more to the cost, which is just subtracting by 10, and you find in a normal time you are spending about 14 carats per run. Note that those runs have 2 outcomes, right? So you're kind of running 2 times the number of runs. It's just that you only get the same amount of refund in this 2 times event. The extra run is worth an additional 10, and so that plus 7 becomes a -3, and you are slightly draining on carats every single run. And this 3 carats is just a little bit, and I still think overall the value in your account, especially on your borrows in particular, you should be re-rolling on sparks that have a good chance of actually giving you progress in your parents still. This 3 carats over the course of time is not going to be too much. We spend this into real American dollars, let's say, we basically find that a single normal run will cost about 5.36 cents, or about a nickel per run. If you do a re-roll, it costs an additional 13 cents for the re-roll, because you can't get any sort of rerun. For the 2x event, you're actually gaining about 9 cents worth of currency, and with the reroll, you are spending about 4 cents worth of currency for 2 particular runs. So with the reroll itself, you're getting about 9 cents per run that you're paying, and for the reroll event, you're paying about 2 cents per run for a reroll. So really, it's not particularly much, but this does add up over time. You see that if you were to go and reroll outside of this event over the course of time 24/7, but taking away 8 hours for sleeping because you're not doing this while you're sleeping, hopefully you're not waking up every hour to do your actual run. If you have 60 minutes per hour for 16 hours a day, because you're getting 8 hours of nice rest, you get 960 minutes divided by 50 per independent training run. You get 19.2 runs. Let's say you lose 0.2 hours just due to resetting in terms of like getting your schedule up and stuff, because that takes like a minute per time. 19 runs per day at 18.76 cents is roughly $3.56 per day that you end up are spending if you're paying for the $66.99 pack for 5,000 at that point. So it's a significant amount of money. It's about it's like a pack a day. So there is another way. If you do 44 race and you're like fan maxing, this may not even be the most that you can do. You get a lot more races, which means you get a lot more refunds, and you're going to reach that limit a whole lot quicker as well. So when you are at 44 race maximum is what I've seen, basically so that you are winning pretty much because you're only doing 3 chains and the occasional 4 chains on a character that has really great aptitudes. It includes some dirt aptitudes. Possibly, I guess you can cycle out a couple of them. Your expected value goes really, really, really far up because 44 is basically an expected value of 2.2 hits per run times 5 equals 11 carats, which is notably greater than 10 carats, which is what you would spend. So, independent training is indeed cash positive, assuming you're doing fan runs. If you're doing parent runs, you are spending a little bit, but again, it's kind of worth the investment in my personal opinion, especially on your borrows and looping in those new particular skills. At the end of the day, this is not too much for most people. If it is for you, do take that into consideration. Those are the numbers that you are spending. And so go and build your parents. That is actually rather cheap to do, and it goes and progresses your account a lot more than you think. And I'll be going and putting out more independent training guides, more parenting guides in general to help you out with that. But do go and ask around in the Discord, if you've been in my Discord, if you've been in the Lupa Discord, etc. A lot of people are there to help you with the independent training and getting it set up and trying to figure out which skills that you need. The other way to do it is by making sure that you pay less for your carats. So this video is sponsored by Lone Wolf because no one's actually will sponsor me. So, switch onky. All right, take care, everyone. Burb out.